Can you make reversible underwear with no stitch in the middle and no uncomfortable gusset? Why not? Let's see how it works. This is episode 4 of our mini-series where we teach you how to design and make custom knickers. If you haven't seen the first 3 videos, I highly recommend you begin with them. Also, all of this content is available in a form of an online course on our website. All the information is broken down into bite-sized lessons and you can come back to any of them at any time. Once you get the course, it's yours for life. And it also comes with really handy ready-to-print PDF instructions and lifetime access to our free sewing course. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Liza Bennett. I am co-founder of Studio Arkdefo, designer and educator. I help women feel great in their bodies through well-fitted clothing. We don't use ready sewing patterns. Instead, we teach you how to design them based on your individual measurements, body type, and personal style preferences. My goal is to help you understand clothes making inside out instead of just following the instructions without having a clue what and why you're doing. And this mini series is a free sample of my teaching style. So if you wonder how our courses look like, exactly how this video is right here, minus the annoying YouTube ads. They are hosted on a very easy to navigate platform and you can come back to any lesson at any time. Right, back to underwear. Here is the thing, I didn't even plan to make a reversible pair. I wanted to show you how to avoid the uncomfortable gusset and make a double layered pair of panties. But my signature way of teaching is using different colored fabrics to make everything more visible, more clear for you. So the idea of reversible underwear was actually born by accident. This is exactly why I keep telling you, make tests. You never know what discoveries you make while trying things out. Remember our first test and the underwear was cut in one layer. Yeah, and you try it on and you go, but that's great, and there is no stitch at the bottom, there is nothing rubbing me underneath. Why can't I make it just in one layer? You could, but then you're missing this double layer feeling right there, right? Then I showed you how you could have double layer in the front. And some of you might have already wondered, if you showed me how to make the test in one piece, and then you showed me how to make double layered front, why can't I make my entire underwear pair as a 2-layered piece without any stitches over here? And this is a great question because you absolutely can do this. Here is a pair that I made with 2 double layers. As you can see, there is no stitch on the gusset. It's just completely 2-layered front and back. And another cool thing about it is that the side seam is also nice and smooth and there is no visible seam. It's all hidden. This is a great option, but keep in mind that this makes your underwear a lot heavier, so they are noticeably heavier. They're much more sturdy. Beautiful clean finish around your legs, and it's really comfortable, right? The only bit of elastic I have is here on the top. It's really simple to put this together, but I want to show you how to make sure that you have this nice clean side seam, okay? As always, I'm using 2 different colors to make it super visible for you. And one more thing to practice your design thinking muscle. Since I'll be stitching my 2 halves along these curves, it means that I need extra seam allowance along the curves because I'll have the seam. So the moment I stitch it, my crotch is getting smaller. So to make sure that you maintain the width, remember to add seam allowance along the entire curve, on each side obviously. This is the right side. And I take another half and also put right side to right side. So as you can see, I'm only pinning around the curves. I do not touch the side seams. You want to very carefully make sure that you align your curves perfectly. And then you will connect these 2 parts with a zigzag stitch as usual along the curves. Keep in mind, you only start from the curves. Do not touch the side seam. So here are my curves stitched, both sides, and I already trimmed the extra seam allowance. I'm not showing this, we've already done this many times before. And now what I want to do, I want to turn it inside out. Once again, look, I did not stitch my side seams yet, only the curves. And of course, keep in mind, the narrower your crotch, the trickier it could be. Put your hand through, grab the other side, and turn this inside out through the crotch. If you've taken our free sewing course, it's the same principle as making a scrunchie. Just instead of rectangular, the shape is a bit more awkward. That's what I'm getting. That's my double layered pants are appearing. But before I continue anything, I want to iron my seams. I will start here at the top where I have some excess from the inside on the fold of the seams. And that's basically it. So that's the idea. Now I have nice and clean finish. Do it for both the curves each side. Okay, so this is how it looks after ironing. It looks very nice and neat, and I'll keep throwing ideas at you. Option number one, the obvious one, this is how you could make yourself a pair of reversible underwear. Yeah, and another option, maybe you want to have elastic in between the layers. It's very easily done. Remember, when we started assembling this, we had our face side of the first layer. So then along this curve, you can just put elastic this way with this pretty edges towards the underwear. And then when you put the second layer, you just sandwich your elastic in between, right? So when you put this stitch along the curve, you will also have elastic in between. Why not? Absolutely doable, because then when you turn it inside out, your elastic will be poking from in between the seam. Yeah, so what I'm showing you is not the answer. It's just ideas. Start thinking, start experimenting. Or maybe you want to insert ruffles on the back or in the front. I don't know. It's the same principle. Okay? Please don't be afraid to experiment. Let's connect our side seams. If I closed my side seams right away, it will look prettier on this side, but then when it comes for me to stitch in this side seam, I would have 2 layers of this and it will be very, very heavy, right? I don't want to do that. Instead, I go say to this side, and that's the main reason why I'm making this 2 colored. So I take green and green, right? Face and face, and I align them. And then there is a side seam, and then there is the white. I make sure that I connect my side seam, I pin it, and then I pin the whites and the greens. And now I put a zigzag stitch for the whole length, the inside layer and the outside layer, and I do this on each side. This is my continuous stitch, and what it does when I fold it, I have a beautiful finish both on the outside and on the inside. Now, of course, it needs to be ironed. The elastic in this case, I will be stitching, for example, from here, and then I'll have to top stitch it to close it together, right? Because it will be open-ended. The same principle. And if you want to, you can first zigzag the top before attaching the elastic. Other option you can do here, you can hide the elastic inside. I will go ahead and I will iron about 5 millimeters of each layer to the wrong side this way, and then I will pin them like this, and I will put a zigzag stitch right at the top to just close my tops, right? Somewhere in the back, I will leave a little opening like this. So I won't close it all the way, the entire circumference. And after that, I will go ahead and I'll put another zigzag stitch about 1 centimeter below that. So I'm creating a tonal for the elastic. The seam allowances are folded to the wrong side, and now I just connect them this way. Again, if you've taken our free sewing course, this is the same way I showed you how to close one of the lined bags. Same idea, just with jersey fabric. Okay, so that's the entire circumference of the waistline is now folded and pinned, and I will go ahead and put kind of close to the edge here a zigzag stitch. So that's a zigzag right on the top just to close my layers, and here is a little opening. And now I'll go ahead and put another zigzag stitch below it to allow the elastic in. How much space? Well, very simple. You can just take an elastic, you can mark it. Okay, so it's about this much. I don't mark anything, I just know visually that I need a little bit more than elastic, so somewhere like here I will put my second stitch. Find a way how you mark it, how it works for you. Okay, so now that's the second stitch also done, and see right away the second one I close the loop, because this is kind of the base of your tonal for the elastic. So this is fine. I don't need to keep it open. I only need a little opening here to get the elastic in. And now I go ahead and push my elastic through. So that's the elastic inserted. I finished the top stitch. It looks quite roughly, but actually when I'm wearing this, it sits perfectly and it's super comfortable. Nothing is too tight. This is another way how you can make yourself a nice pair of underwear, with elastic only on the top. hidden in between the layers. And theoretically, they absolutely could be your reversible pair of underwear. Why not? And that's it for today. Practice and make tests. That's the only true shortcut to find your perfect fit and design. And as always, remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. New content is coming up every Friday. And if you have a friend who might also benefit from this content, please share the link. Have a good one. I'll see you next week.